All right, man. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book entitled "Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father." Amazon Kindle Create Space. We're taught sex, not intimacy. You know, people go by the mantra "sex sells." You know, sex drives people, and people wonder why relationships are not. One of the reasons why relationships are not working is because relationships lack intimacy. Intimacy is just not about sex. As a matter of fact, when you talk about intimacy, when you say love and intimacy, that sounds more natural than sex and intimacy. Because to be intimate with somebody, you actually have to care about it. You actually have to go out of your way to show them you care about it. You have to be vulnerable with them. You have to express your innermost thoughts with them. But we live in um, hard shell marshmallow society where you front like you're so hard, but you're really just some cotton candy on the inside. So, you're protecting your feelings by a hard shell, and then you're crying. You're subconsciously thirsty for intimacy, and you're crying out for it, but you can't really. You're too scary to just open up. You know, what I mean by that in some ways is this. Um, it's cool to spend time with people that will spend their free time with you. You could have love and respect for them. But you should have the utmost love and respect for people who will make time for you. And because people who make time for you, that makes you a priority. You're a priority to them. And with all of these games being played, the games are usually disrespectful to intimacy. What I mean, when you're younger, you know, and you learn intimacy normally from your parents, from your family, from the way that your mother and father interact, your grandparents interact, the way you see your siblings interact with the opposite sex, the way you see your cousins, interact with the opposite sex, where people are getting along and not just in some superficial, I'm getting something out of the deal type of relationship. They actually enjoy each other's company. They actually, when people go out on dates, they're actually getting ready and getting dressed and looking good and smelling good because they want to be their best for that person, not look good and smell good to take the best picture for the event and ignore the person. People get it twisted. So, you know, there's a lack of intimacy because just because it doesn't that and on the outside will look the same, but you'll know the difference when you're dealing with it. You know, uh, that's the difference between having a house and a home. A house is a nice structure to live in. A home is a place where people's personalities intertwine and creates a loving environment. You know, and since it's lacking, and since we live in a hyper sexual society where sex is always at the forefront, when it's weird because you would assume that with all this sex and sexuality being advertised and put on display just in life in general, not just like on television, but television, internet, when you go out and people are overly sexual in their presentation of themselves, you would think that people are sexually satisfied by now, but most people aren't. Most people are yearning for something, and 9 times out of 10, what they're yearning for is that intimacy. And people are using sex to get intimacy, and it's not working because that intimacy is deeper than sex. That intimacy comes with conversations. That intimacy comes with being around somebody in the good times and the bad times. That intimacy comes in the platonic love of a human being that you have a sexual relationship with. Like you actually love the person and not just the person's superficiality. You know, yeah, they cute. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you can just like as a guy, I can love a woman's attractiveness, but also love her company. You get what I'm saying? Like how many times our kids have a difficult time. They grow up not seeing two people of the opposite sex in a household hugging each other, kissing each other. You know, people forget the days when you would see a man and a woman together and kids go, ooh, ooh, y'all nasty. Uh. Now it's like a lot of single, I hate to say it, but single mother households where it's just tension and dysfunction, where the kid's like, yeah, yeah, run them off, mama. That's love, baby. And then they wind up perpetuating this when they go out into the world, uh, interacting with the opposite sex because you don't want to actually get to know somebody. You want to get to be able to piss somebody off to the point where they don't fuck with you no more. And then wonder like, what's missing? Well, what's missing is intimacy. You know, you can't ask for something, and intimacy is one of those things that come with reciprocity. You can't ask for it and not give it. If you don't know how to give it, you won't maintain the relationships with some people that you might deep down feel are the realest people you've been around. Because the way I see it just playing out is, people say if you do something if you do something good for a person 99 times, what they're gonna probably remember is the one time you rubbed them the wrong way. And I think stupid people stick to that logic because what that says is you're an ungrateful bastard anyways. Because if you overlook 99 good experiences for one bad experience, mathematically you're fucking stupid to remember 1% over 99%. Now, ironically, people do the opposite, where a person could meet you and do, and treat you bad 99 different times and treat you nice one time, and you cling to the one time to stay with that person. Or, they got a good heart because remember that one time. Because you remember that one time, I mean, yeah, they hit me in the neck with a sledgehammer, but that one time. And then, how do people look at you? Like you fucking stupid. Like, that one time? Really? You've been getting fucked up this whole time? Because you've been holding on to the memory of that one time? And then, because of this logic, people live lives of regret. Just sometimes I think this is the reason why people are scared to approach people because that might they're scared to get to know people because some people are so enthralled in just sex and sexuality. Not only they know their sexuality, but they might not even know themselves. So how can you be intimate with a person when all you know is your own sex drive? You don't know you don't even know your nuances, and you don't know your idiosyncrasies, and you don't know how to communicate properly with other people to make them just respect your opinion, to even respect your opinion enough to even want to continue to talk to you. So, I mean, like I said before, we living in an age where people people know sex well. There's a million porn sites, but there's not one intimacy site. There's a million sexual references and innuendos, but there's minimal signs of intimacy. You know, you make sacrifices for people that you're intimate with. You make, you actually, these they make intimacy a fucking um, superhero story, because that's what intimacy is. Being the person who comes in and saves the day because they care about this person so much that they want to make sure that they are safe and sound. That's fairy tale shit. Now that's movie shit. What's real is I just want to fuck. And what's my favorite word? Bitch! You can't say it like short. Bitch! Just saying. I still like that song. Don't blow the whistle. Um, but at the end of the day, when you gravitate towards sexuality over intimacy, that's that inner yearn that you're trying to figure out why the sex isn't always gratifying, even if it's good. Why I want more from this relationship, but I don't know what to do, because you don't know how to be intimate with the person. We all know we know how to fuck people, but we don't realize we're not practicing on how to fuck with people properly. You feel me? I'm out.